everybody wants to live an exceptional life, right? Like nobody wants just an average life.
Mediocre.
A mediocre life. They're like, no, dude, I want an exceptional marriage. I want a marriage that is above, what is normal, right? But if you look at the word exceptional, in order to have an exceptional marriage, you have to be the exception.
Yeah.
And so when you go off in marriage and you say, screw everything that I've been told to do, I'm going to relook at marriage and say, what do I want my marriage to look like, our marriage to look like? And then the next thought should be this. Yes, nobody's going to understand, but that's okay because I want to be the exception. Because if I'm not the exception, I can't have an exceptional marriage.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good reframe for people. I was like, dude, that makes so much sense.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married with the Muchicas podcast. We are so excited that you're here. We are Richard and Hailey Muchica. We have been married for 12 years. We have 4 kids. We homeschool. We run a home-based business. Lots of fun home things. And
All the good stuff.
All the good home things. And our slogan on this show is building a marriage you love coming home to.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is our desire for all of you. So how are you doing? Today's New Year's Eve.
Today is Happy New Year's Eve to everybody.
Last day of 2025.
That's crazy.
How has the year been for you? What would you say is the highlight of 2025 been?
Probably the new house. Okay. Yeah, that's probably the highlight of 2025. I would say 2025 was another great year. Feel very blessed with 2025. We another big highlight actually, was getting that building done.
The Iowa one?
Yeah, the Iowa project. So the Iowa project, if you don't know, was just a huge, I kind of got in over my head as an investor, but we invested in a property in Iowa that was a 62-unit apartment building, and it was like a tear down, right? Tear down, so teared it all down to the studs, rebuilt it from scratch. And of course, like every project took way more time, took way more money, took way more this, and it was in a different state.
Yeah.
But it ended up working out good.
Yeah, we love it.
So I think it's all good in the hood. But that was another big one too.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my highlight of 2025 is definitely the house. This is like a dream, hopefully forever home for us. So this is a big one.
Yeah.
And also our kids are just getting so much older and so much more fun.
I know.
We played Uno last night before bed, and it was like really the first time I think we've really like been able to play a game, all 6 of us, that like everyone was able to partake in, understand the rules, play correctly, So it's just kind of a new season of life, but it's really fun. If
100%.
you guys don't know, our youngest is 5 and our oldest is 10. And so we have 4 kids in that range. And it's really fun to watch them grow. And I heard this, so I keep a picture right next to the stove of our youngest when he was a baby. And it's me and him, and we're like looking at each other, and he's got his chubby little hand on my face, and he's like, you know how infants try to kiss and they just like mouth things? Well, he's like mouthing my nose, but he's trying to kiss me. Oh my gosh. And it's one of my favorite pictures ever, but I keep it on like a little cookbook stand right next to the stove because it's a constant reminder to myself that you don't get to keep any version of your kids. Like that sweet little chubby hand on my face I'll never have again. And I'm so thankful that I really enjoyed that time. But now I have a really cool 10-year-old that I'll never get again either. And so I'm trying to like remind myself to enjoy every season with my kids because I don't get to keep it. What they are now is not who they're going to be in a year.
So true.
But I think as our kids get older, that just becomes more and more evident and bittersweet for sure.
Bittersweet moments of life.
Because those sweet little chubby hands on your face are just the best. And you can't keep them. It's sad.
Hey, but you got the memories.
And now I have a really cool 5-year-old girl that I wouldn't know when she was a chubby little baby. Anyways.
I'm apparently John Deere now.
Yeah.
Had my birthday on the 29th. Thanks for sending your gifts, guys.
Yes.
I got a lot of your gifts.
Yes.
But yeah, I got a lot of John Deere stuff.
You got John Deere hats. You got a couple cowboy hats. Guys, I unlocked a new thing.
We should put Ishmael. I put the photo on the screen right now.
So Richard got a pair of camo overalls. I didn't know this was a thing for me. But oh my gosh,
Apparently
he put
it's a thing.
Apparently it's a thing. And he put them on with no shirt, just his cowboy overalls and his cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. And I almost melted.
Fell in love.
Like I was blushing and I was like, oh my gosh.
It was love at first sight, huh?
All over again.
All over again. Jeez.
Oh, so cute.
Man.
So,
good
so
times.
cute.
Good times.
You're farmer rich.
That's right. And I'm growing the beard out, so I got the whole thing going.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so last week on the podcast, we talked about, like setting a vision and a goal as a couple
Yes.
and how to do that, and that you're more productive and more efficient when you're working together on something.
Yep.
And a lot of marriages don't take the time to actually have that conversation of what is our goal.
That's right.
And so that was
And identity over behavior.
an identity over behavior. Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
Very good. So that was last week's podcast. And this week, we're talking about something that we've definitely lived and can really, really speak to.
Yeah.
And that is not being afraid to go against the grain, to do things differently and to be unapologetic about it, but also to make a very, very conscious decision of what you want. Because a lot of times we can just go about life doing the next thing that's expected or the next thing that's culturally normal and not actually think about whether we want those things or not.
Man.
So making a conscious decision of what it is we want and then going for it full force. So I think this is a really important conversation. And I think it's a really appropriate conversation for the new year, like making that decision and going full out and see where you can be at the end of 2026. I think that's really exciting.
It's super exciting. And that, I feel like that is our marriage in a nutshell.
It really is. And that's one thing that we really love to do is do things against the grain unapologetically. So
We definitely beat to our own drum. But I think most marriages should beat to their own
because
drum.
every marriage is unique. Both people are unique.
Yeah, they're unique. And they want to do things their way, you know? But I think, so here's the thing. It's hard to do that.
It's very hard.
Yeah. Because they have a way of, oh, well, wouldn't it be cool if we could do X? But it's like, well, nobody's done that. You know, we don't have permission to do that.
Yeah.
You know, they're waiting for permission. But really, you don't need permission to live how you want to live.
Right. Well, and I think another factor too is a lot of times we replicate what our family of origin did in a lot of ways. And I think sometimes we can do that almost as a way of like trying to affirm to ourselves that what they did wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? Instead of saying like, hey, they did the best they could with what they had, but I'm going to do something different. And that's not necessarily a condemnation of your family to do something different. But I think sometimes it can feel like it is. So in a sense of loyalty, we feel like, well, no, I have to do things this way because this is the way my family did it. And if I say I want to do things
that's a good
different,
point.
they might get offended.
Yeah. And let's not forget the big J word. You guys all know the J word. They don't want to be judged.
Yeah. And you will be if you do things differently.
You 100%
But you
will be
have to not
judged.
care.
And I think that is one of the hardest parts of doing marriage your way is nobody's going to understand. But that's, so, you know, here's something funny that I heard the other day that I was like, man, that is so freaking good. Everybody wants to live an exceptional life, right? Like nobody wants just an average life.
Mediocre.
A mediocre life. They're like, no, dude, I want an exceptional marriage. I want a marriage that is above, you know, what is normal, right? But if you look at the word exceptional, in order to have an exceptional marriage, you have to be the exception.
Yeah.
And so when you go off in marriage and you say, screw everything that I've been told to do, I'm going to relook at marriage and say, what do I want my marriage to look like, our marriage to look like? And then the next thought should be this. Yes, nobody's going to understand, but that's okay because I want to be the exception. Because if I'm not the exception, I can't have an exceptional marriage.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good reframe for people. I was like, dude, that makes so much sense.
That does make a lot of sense. I like that. I was kind of wondering,
Right.
where are you going to go with that? Like, what is the root word of exceptional? But
Right?
yeah,
Think about
totally.
it. So now, okay, look, I got this quote. Tell me if you agree or disagree. Most couples aren't afraid of doing marriage wrong. They're afraid of being judged for doing it differently.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Agree?
I'd agree.
Okay, cool. Well, just teach people how to do this. Like,
Cool.
let's talk about it because how do you go off and do things your way?
Okay. So I think the very, very first step is intentionality, like actually sitting down and thinking, what do we want? What are we going for? What is our goal? You know, like so many times our kids turn 5 and it's just that's when they go to kindergarten. So we just send our sweet little kid to kindergarten without even thinking like, is that the best choice for our family? Like, is that what makes the most sense? Is that the best thing to help us accomplish our goal? Or maybe can I look at doing something different?
Yeah.
You know, like challenge yourself a little bit in what your beliefs are. You know, like you believe that, oh, all 5-year-olds have to go to school, and then stop for a second and say, is that true? Do all 5-year-olds have to go to school? Because no, they don't. Let me tell you, they don't.
Yeah.
And it's like there's so many moms that struggle to send their kids to school. It's like, but you know you don't have to, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's other options. And that's just one example.
That's a great point.
But I think you have to, A, be really intentional and know what it is you want, and B, challenge the beliefs that you think you have.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the first step.
Yeah. So no, it is. So what's the first step? So
Be intentional.
Be intentional. Yeah.
And actually think about what you want.
Yeah.
Not just this is what's accepted. This is the next thing. This, you know?
Yeah. And this is what's been true for us. So we've done things against the grain, right? So I'll give a couple examples from our marriage. So we homeschooled our kids, right? So we were the first ones in our family line to do that. There was people that didn't understand that. Whoa, that's like wild. Like that's a wild thing right there, right? Well, here's the cool part about doing something that's being the exception is now you give permission to your family to copy you. They're like, well, they broke the mold. They took the leadership responsibility to go do something different. Now, once you've done that, you give everybody else in your family the permission to say, I want to do that too.
Yeah, which has been so interesting.
Which has been very interesting because that's happened to us in a lot of different areas. You know, we chose, I'll give you another one. We chose to get up and move. Whoa, nobody in our families moved. Like nobody believed in moving.
It was an unfathomable decision to your
Move?
family. It was.
I stayed as a kid.
It was an immoral decision to your family in a lot of ways.
Yeah, 100%. And guess what? That gave everybody permission to now move. All of them have since moved, by the way, just to let you know. And I find that to be extraordinarily fascinating how that happens. I don't know if you have any more examples of that, but there's probably multiple.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you branched out and started a business, right? Our advice when we were young was, hey,
Yeah.
go to UPS.
Yes.
Go to Costco. Go
Yes.
get a pension.
Yes.
Go like do these things. Get a 401k. And you're like, no, I think I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Like I feel this calling to an entrepreneur. That was, I mean, people thought we had lost our minds.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll give you another one.
Okay.
I mean, this is you. I don't know if you're cool with me sharing. I think you're cool with me sharing.
I'm sure I'm fine with it.
Botox.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. Haley's like, dude,
Shoot
I'm
it
gonna
up,
go
baby.
I'm gonna go get Botox. I want to look better. And my family was like, dude, we can't like do that. But like, oh, all of a sudden Haley gets Botox. Well, maybe I can get Botox, right? So like, it's just these things in your life that you say, wait, I want to do this. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And you just go off and do it.
Well, and with the Botox thing, so I'm just going to use that example to draw out like how you can challenge beliefs.
Yeah.
Because the belief was,
sorry.
you know, as a Christian, you have to age gracefully and you have to like, you can't alter your body in any way, right?
The beauty's on the inside.
The beauty, right? Which is also important and is more important, 100%. But it's whatever. That's a different conversation. But the belief I'm going to challenge is, well, wait a second. How come it's okay to paint your nails and it's okay to dye your hair? Those are all it's okay to put on makeup. Why is that okay? But this other thing's not okay. Like you can't just draw these imaginary lines and say that they're fact. Like it's okay to challenge those things and say, well, I don't know that I agree with that. You know, like why is it, I don't know. There's so many of those kinds of things, but people assume these beliefs as fact until they take the time to say, is that true? Is that really what that means?
Or do I believe that?
Do I really believe that?
Yeah.
And if you don't and everyone else around you does, that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's okay.
It just means you have a different way of wanting to do things.
Yeah. And of course, if you've listened to our show ever, this goes without saying, but just in case you're new here, that is all within the biblical context and the biblical framework, right? You don't get to challenge the biblical standard and say, is that true? Because if it's in the Bible, yes, it is true. So is murder wrong? Regardless of your feelings, yes, it's wrong. Is lying wrong? Regardless of your feelings, yes, it's wrong, right? So when the Bible says something, we don't argue with that. But other things that are cultural, like, hey, you have to send your kid to school at 5, I'm going to challenge that a little bit. Or, hey, you can't move more than 5 miles away from your mom. I'm a grown adult. I'm going to challenge that one a little bit, and it's okay to do that.
Yes.
You should do that.
You should.
and stick with your convictions. Like if you really do feel like, no, it is wrong to move more than 5 miles from my mom, stick with that. That's okay. But you also can't put that conviction on other people because that is not a biblical standard. That's your own personal standard, which is fine. But you don't get to put those on other people.
You gave me a great Charlotte Mason quote. They said most ideas are
everyone's got opinions. They're
acquired.
either honestly acquired or merely picked up.
And
most of our opinions are just picked up. And honestly acquired means like doing the work to think through them. Mm-hmm. And most opinions are not that. Most opinions are just picked up.
As I've gotten older, I've come to really respect people, even if they hold a different opinion than me. I really respect people who come up to their own conclusions for their own reasons. Mm-hmm. And they might have a conclusion that I'm like, dude, that's a stupid conclusion. But you know what? I respect them because they thought about it and they said, based off the evidence, based off of what I've been thinking about, this is how I want to do it. And this is my thought on that.
Do you have an example of that, of someone who has a conviction that you disagree with, but that you respect anyways?
Well, I mean, I think it's in all different facets of life. I mean, as little as, well, hey, I think, Brett Favre is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. And it's like, here's my reasons for it, right? Like where culture people would say like, dude, Brett Favre is the best of all time. Like you're not going to say like Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Brett Favre in Green Bay, but he's like, no, dude, I think he is. And here's why. He's thought about it. It's not like, oh, Brett Favre's the best ever. It's like, no, dude, Aaron Rodgers is actually twice as good. Let me tell you why. Right. And so it's like the ideas that are merely picked up. I mean, that's a small example, but you can play that scenario out in any type of thing. Right. What's another one? I mean, I'm trying to think of one right now. I can't think of one off the top of my head, or look, somebody that says, dude, homeschool is not the way to go.
Yeah.
I think that kids should be in school, and here's my reasons why. And I think that they need X, Y, and Z, and research shows X, Y, and Z. And I've come to the conclusion that my kids need to be in school.
Totally respect that.
Totally respect it. Because they're not saying, oh, that's what everybody does. It's like, no, this is what I've thought through, and this is why I choose to send my kids to school.
Now, the only time I don't respect that is when you make that decision or you come to that conclusion for yourself, and now you're going to tell everybody else that that's what they have to do because that's the right thing. Yeah. It's like, no, that's your conclusion for your family, and you're allowed to do that, but you don't get to make conclusions for other people's families.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, you don't get to push it, for sure. So here's 3 lies that are replacing biblical conviction. Okay, lie number 1 is that there's one right way to do marriage. Yes or no?
Of course not.
There's not one right way to do marriage. And here's a cool little truth that I think kind of sums this up, is Scripture gives principles, but they don't give a template, right? It's like, here are the principles in Scripture. Here's how you should live your life and your marriage. And it gives you all these principles. And it's like, you got to follow the principles, but that doesn't mean that it's templated. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of freedom within those principles.
Right. So here's a principle of marriage, right? Marriage is monogamous. Marriage there's faithful to your marriage, right? That's a principle that doesn't go away.
You can't go against that one.
Now, something that's not a principle is very, very, there's a lot of freedom here. So like you have a sister and her husband are very spontaneous and they love to just jump in the car and go up to Big Bear for a week.
They're nuts.
They love that. And there is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We would never do that, right? We're just a little bit more, we like to be home. We're a little bit more planned. We're a little bit more, we like the stability. There's nothing wrong with that either. That's where you have the freedom in marriage, where you have two different people who like different things, have different personalities. Their personalities love that. Go all in with that. Like, go buy a ticket to freaking Portugal tomorrow and knock your socks off. I love that for you. Yeah. I'm not going with you.
I'm so happy for you.
I love it. I'm not going. You know what I mean? So like, there's so much freedom to live how you want to live, as long as there's, you know, those principles aren't stepped on.
Yes. I think you summed it up beautifully.
Right? Thank you.
Yes, that was great. What do you guys think? Give us the, hey, by the way, leave a comment. If you're on live right now, leave a comment. Okay, lie number 2. If people don't understand your marriage, you must be wrong.
I love not being understood. I love that.
Okay, so I think we should uncover this a little bit. Like, we got to figure out why we're like this.
I know.
Me and Hailey are like little rebels, and somewhere in our identity, it's like we love being opposite of what most people are. I don't know. It's weird, huh?
Yeah, it is kind of weird. A psychologist will have to give us a little rundown of why
It's
we
like,
do that.
oh, most people are over here. It's like, oh, but we're over here. You know, I don't know what it is. But hey, you know, I will say this. I'll tell you this. Do you agree with the statement that 99% of people are sheep?
I mean, probably. I don't know what the.
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
And I might ruffle some serious feathers.
No, usually I get to do that.
I don't know if I want to get into this, but
Do it.
I'm just going to say it. Look at COVID.
Ooh, we're going
Okay.
there.
We're going there.
Okay.
COVID. How many, percentage-wise, how many people were running around with masks?
Healthy people with masks on their face. I don't know.
99% of people.
I can't imagine it was that much. But
You
maybe.
walked into anywhere. Everybody was wearing a freaking mask, right? Were we wearing a mask? No.
No, I didn't.
And it's like, and
we were
everybody,
in California, so
and
it
we were
was-
in California. Like
it was
everything was
rough.
shut down. Everything was like, we would walk into Costco. You got to we're like, dude, we're out of here. I'm not gonna.
And
I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
put on my freaking
in other
mask.
places, like if you're like more in the South or whatever, it maybe lasted a month. For us,
Yeah.
the mask mandate went on for a year.
Yeah, it was forever.
Like, it was forever.
It was forever. But the reason why I say 99, look, everybody's looking for a leader. And in order to be a leader, you must do what others are unwilling to do first. Because that gives permission to everybody else to say, oh, they're doing it, I can do it too. And sometimes, and not sometimes, all the time in marriage, you have to lead. Like you are leading your marriage. The wife is, the husband is, and a lot of times there's uncomfortable like things you have to do that are against the herd, against the 99, because the 99 are sheep.
Right.
They are looking for a leader. They are looking for somebody to say, well, if they do it first, I will maybe do it after them.
Yeah. Well,
right?
okay, and that's
so I don't know. This is my personal opinion, but I could, maybe
well, no,
you
but
disagree.
that's a good example of a belief that you can challenge, right? Culturally, the vibe on marriage is that marriage is really hard. Marriage is a grind. You have to just kind of get to the end, but that's the only goal, right? Is just get there. And that's a belief that we rejected from the very beginning. And we said, no, we're not, that's not going to be our story. Like we are going to enjoy marriage. We're going to enjoy each other. We're going to prioritize date night. We're going to do these things. And I think really that's shown people around us that maybe didn't know that was possible, that was possible.
That was possible, yeah. And there was a lot of fruits to that because in COVID season, guess what? My family, we all saw each other. We all went to go hang out. We were like, dude, and everybody's like, you guys are irresponsible. You're going to get everybody sick. You're going to do this. And we're like, well, dude, look.
Which, I mean, just to set some context for that, like we had a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a newborn during COVID, right?
Yeah. Not to mention, we had a 70-year-old and a,
But I just really felt as like this is where it comes time where you've got to make a conscious decision and actually think about what you want, right? The development of my children and the development of their emotional stability and their ability to use language and their like to read emotional cues from people's faces and like that was more important to me than the idea that somebody in my healthy family could get sick, right? Like that was not that scary of a prospect to me, but the idea of the development of my children in these very, very formative, very, very young, very, very early, very, very important years, that was just like, you had to make that conscious decision.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
And that was why we did that. It wasn't just whatever people said it was irresponsible. Okay, but when I am the one in charge of raising my children, this feels like the most responsible decision.
Amen. Amen, sister. So the thing there is no, it's not right. So if people don't understand your marriage, that does not mean you're wrong.
Absolutely not.
Lie number 3, healthy marriages all look the same.
Oh gosh, that's
just, I don't even know if we have to comment on that one.
Yeah.
Don't believe that lie. Lie number 4, if you're confident, you're being prideful.
I think you can be prideful and be confident, but I don't think they're necessary. They're not one and the same.
So right here, I have a thing that says confidence is rooted in conviction, not pride.
Yeah. I think that's like saying you can have a beard. If you have a beard, you have green eyes. It's like, well, no, I can have green eyes and have a beard, but they're not necessarily one and the same. Like you can be confident and prideful. Sure, there are people that are that, but you can also be confident without being prideful.
Yeah. And I think in your marriage, you need strong convictions.
Yes.
Because you and I have very strong convictions. And those convictions are the ground, the foundation of why we do things the way we do.
They're the foundation of decision making.
They're the foundation of decision making. Exactly. But I think in marriage, a lot of times what happens is everybody's got convictions. Like, audience now watching this, they're like, man, I have this conviction, but they suppress the conviction
Or
because they're nervous.
or
afraid.
your conviction can be wrong. Just because you're convicted doesn't mean you're right.
It's true. It's true.
So if your conviction is that marriage is really hard and marriage is awful and marriage sucks and nobody should get married, sure, that can be your conviction. And you're
Yeah.
going to be like a heat-seeking missile and you're going to make that true.
That's true.
But it doesn't mean you're right.
Yeah. However, again, going back to the respect principle, if somebody has that conviction and it's well thought out, like if they have a reason for believing this, I still will respect it. I'd be like, okay, well, tell me why you believe this. It's like, well, I believe this because, well, in my family, this, that. It's like, well, that's not a good reason. Like,
No.
you need to have a concrete reason
And
for
see, and like
believing
something like that, I wouldn't respect, to be honest, because it's not true, right? Like, maybe
Yeah,
that
it's not
was true in your life, but you also have to be willing to challenge yourself enough to look around and be like, okay, is that true for everyone 100% of the time?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, then your conviction's built on nonsense.
that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, of course it's not true.
Yeah.
Do people ever have happy marriages? Yes, very much so. So, no, that's not true. That marriage, maybe you had an awful marriage and maybe you contributed to an awful marriage somehow, but that doesn't
Yeah.
mean all marriage is just awful.
That's a
That's
good
ridiculous.
that's a good litmus test, by the way, with anybody. If you're like, well, how do I know if a belief is true? Well, a belief is only true is if it's correct 100% of the time. And if it's not correct 100% of the time, that means it is a belief that you can change.
Right.
and
Like people
alter.
will say, you can't have everything.
Yeah.
You can't have money and have a good marriage and have healthy kids. That's not true.
That's simply just a belief.
That's a belief. It's not true.
That you can
Because if
change.
you can look and say, wait, but I have this uncle and they seem to kind of do it, it's like, okay, well, then that's not true. Maybe it was true for you and maybe you made decisions that made that true, but it's not a true belief.
Yes. Bang, 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 bang.
You
Ding,
know?
ding, 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 ding. Anybody? Yes. So, any more stories on how we kind of have done this?
Oh, gosh. Things that we've done against the grain. Move your cup, please.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Got to move the cup.
I don't know. I think maybe our level of affection is maybe one
Yeah.
that hey, that's private. That should be, and obviously we're not having sex in public. That's not what I'm talking about. But
This is just to be frank.
but our level of affection of PDA
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call it is definitely higher than the norm. And that's something that we've consciously decided is important to us. It's important to us to show our children, and we're, that might not be what
Yeah.
your marriage requires or what you want to go for. And that's okay too. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that has to be across the board, but that's something that we've made a conscious decision to pursue
Yeah. Just
intentionally.
that's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 100%. And, I think it's good as just a framework to not seek applause in your marriage, because when you go do things differently, the last thing that you're probably going to get is an applause.
Well, what is
so
the,
you
what
have
is
to
the
you have to root yourself on.
what is the progression? It's like first they laugh at you,
Then they accept you. First they criticize you.
first they criticize,
Then they accept you.
No,
Or
when
how do you
do
say
they
it?
laugh? First they criticize, then they laugh, then they accept, then they join you. Something like that.
Well, then they praise you.
Praise you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not going to come for a really long time.
And those cycles are always so true.
Uh-huh. It's very true.
Yeah.
Another thing is we used to get told all the time, you can't buy $1 million house. Your taxes are crazy on that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And that was something that we kind of just accepted as true until we were like, well, wait a second. Does that make sense? Is that true? Is that
Yeah.
and we kind of challenged that and said, and then, so we did it. And now
Yeah.
all of our family's done it. And
Well, you know what? I don't know if I've ever told you this story. Hailey and I own a business, and in this business, we started making some money, right? For the first time ever, we started making money, and I realized quickly, I was like, oh my gosh, babes, I got to figure out how to do this whole tax thing, because taxes are just eating us alive, right? So through, my father and XYZ, we met these tax guys. You remember them. They're both brothers,
remember,
or not
yeah.
brothers, but they were both had the same first name. And this is the day where I realized that I had to get rid of these guys. And I'll tell you what happened. I get on the phone, and I'm not going to tell you his name. Let's just say his name is George. Okay? That's not his name, but let's say his name is George. I'm like, hey, George. He's like, hey, dude, tell me this. He's like, what's going on this year? What are your goals? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Because one of them was a financial advisor and one of them was a tax guy. And I was talking to the financial advisor. And I said, hey, dude, here's my goal. I said, this is what I want to make happen. And this is what he said. He said, well, Rich, that's a good goal. I like that. But he's like, you can't make that happen this year. Like, that's not going to happen this year. Like, that's a good 5-year. Like, let's put that down. As soon as he said that,
Like, I'm out of here.
I said, this is not my guy. Like, I need somebody that doesn't have these beliefs. I need them to believe that it's possible. Like, don't tell me it's not possible. I'd rather him say, look, Rich, if you want to do that, this is what's required. Tell me what's required. Don't tell me it's not possible, because I know it's possible. I just need to figure out how to do it, right? And that was the conversation where I said, this is not my guy. And I think if we look at our lives, we have a lot of these conversations where you got to say, you know what? This person's not my person.
Right.
They're not on the
Instead
same
of just
board.
accepting what they say is truth,
Yes.
saying, this isn't my person.
It's not my person. They don't believe how I, want to believe. They don't see how I see,
Right.
like.
And that might even be your parents, right? And so it's not that you have to like completely write them off and say, go no contact with your mom because she thinks that marriage is really hard and you don't believe that, right? But it might mean that, hey, you got to know your parents' strengths, right? If I need help cooking something, or if I need to get a stain out of my shirt, I'm going to call my mom, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask her, how do I do that? If your parents don't have the marriage that you want, that's not who you're going to go to for your marriage advice. Doesn't mean you don't love them.
That's
It doesn't
such a
mean you
good
don't
point.
respect
Man,
them.
that is such good.
It doesn't mean you don't honor them, but you have to look and say, you know what? My parents aren't where I want to be financially. That's not where I'm going to go for financial advice. I
such a
love
good
them.
point.
I'm going to call her when I need to get a stain out of my shirt, but that's not where I'm going for the financial advice.
That's such a good point.
So I think you have to be really conscious of where you're going for that kind of stuff too. For marriage advice, for parenting advice, for money advice. Go
That's
to the
such
people.
a good point. How many people default to that?
Yes.
I'm going to go to my parents for money advice, which sounds like
Sounds
a
smart.
good idea. Oh, yeah, go to your parents. But then you realize, wait, my parents are broke. What advice are they going to give me?
Or-
And it's not
yeah.
to say your parents are bad. It's just like,
No.
hey, in that area, maybe you don't go to your
Not where-
parents.
yeah.
Right? Man, I had to learn that. I had to learn that one too. And not just parents, but just for everything in my life.
Anybody.
I'm like, why am I asking this guy about marriage advice? Like, he doesn't even have the marriage I want.
Right.
Right?
So like go to church and find the couple that's a little bit older and they're sitting there worshiping with their arms around each other and like go ask them for marriage advice.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we were just having a conversation in the car about this. And a lot of times we were talking about like in marriage where you as a human are a heat-seeking missile. You can basically dream up a scenario and you can say, hey, this is what I want. And if you keep that thought forefront in your mind, you will naturally move towards it because it's like the thought, right, that you have. And oftentimes what's holding us back from the best thoughts is we just don't know what's possible. We didn't know that, oh my gosh, you can have a marriage that good. You just think, oh, well, my parents had this marriage or, the marriages I see are like this. So this is what marriage must be. Mm-hmm. And so we were just talking about like how the biggest cheat code in the world is finding somebody that has what you want and then asking them, how did you do it? Mm-hmm. And by the way, that's called mentorship.
Yeah.
Right. And mentorship, everybody says this, like, Warren Buffett, all the greats. It's like the biggest cheat code in the world is finding a mentor. Why? It's because they already have the blueprint.
Right.
They already know what to do.
And choose your mentor really wisely,
Yeah.
right? Don't go to the guy with the failing business for business advice.
Yes.
Find the guy with the rock in business and go to him or in whatever area. And like the heat-seeking missile thing, your subconscious will do that for the good or for the bad. So you have to be really, really conscious of what you're putting your mind to.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to say, so you don't have to turn that to me.
Oh, okay. Well, I just.
Okay.
So yes. So anyways, so yeah, family criticism, social media comparison, church culture pressure. That's a
Okay. Well, let's talk about social media comparison for a second, because that's one of those things that gets a really bad rap culturally, right? It's like social media is just a highlight reel and whatever, and that's okay. And I think you have to be aware of that, but I think it can also show you a different thing that's possible, and that's good, right? So like if you see a beautiful a beautiful kitchen on social media, right? For all you know, the kitchen is beautiful because she stacked all the garbage in the corner and it's not in the frame, but it's still there, right?
Yeah, that's
For
right.
all you know, that's the reality. But at the same time, that beautiful kitchen that you're seeing in the picture can serve as inspiration to you. It doesn't really matter that there's trash in her corner. Who cares? So like, be aware that like you're not comparing your life to somebody else, but you can use it as inspiration, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't have to like, oh, but that's not real. Don't write everything off as not real. Just take the inspiration you can get from it and move on. But don't go with that low vibe like, oh, that's not real. That's not real. They probably fight all the time. Oh, they can't afford that vacation. Like, don't go there. Like, just take the inspiration and move on.
Mm-hmm. I think that takes a lot of self-awareness. Abraham Lincoln had a great quote.
About social media?
No. Well, yes, he did, because he was the godfather of social media.
He was very aware.
He was very aware. He knew social media was going to be big. But he said, Abraham Lincoln said this. He's like, everybody I meet, I learn from.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
I
like,
love that.
But he said, usually I learn what not to do.
What not to do. That's good.
And I think that's a good frame. It's like, I want to learn from everybody. Whether you teach me what to do or what not to do, I win either way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to your point, that's a great perspective to have.
Yes. I love that.
Besides that, so explaining versus deciding. Yeah. And, maybe we can wrap up with that. I think, the more that we've had more things happen, right? We've had more kids. We've had a business. We've had some failures. We've had some financial stress. A lot of my periods of the most anxiety in my life and the most stress in my life, it's because I'm putting off decisions. And for every decision that I hold in my mind that I do not make, I am more stressed. And so I think that's a good frame for a lot of marriages is, listen, you got to make decisions. And you should make them very fast if you can. And the way we base decisions is, I'll give you a good analogy. You got hats, you have haircuts, hats, and tattoos. This is how you look at decisions, okay? If a decision is a haircut, well, okay, you get the wrong haircut, your hair grows back, right? So you're like, it's not that big of a decision, so make it fast.
Yeah, and it's going to be annoying for a month or two.
Yeah, so it's like you might think a little bit about a haircut, but it's not like the end-all, be-all, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have a hat. Like a hat you can just put on and off. Like, who cares? Yeah. Like hats, like where are we going to go out to eat? Who cares? Just pick somewhere and go, right? Because you're training yourself to make decisions fast.
Yes.
And then you have tattoos. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm about to get a tattoo. If a decision is a tattoo, you should think about it for a while.
Which very few decisions in life are tattoos.
Yes. Yeah.
Most decisions are not.
Yeah. I'll give you a tattoo, right? A tattoo is like, okay, I'm going to marry this person.
That's a tattoo.
That's a tattoo.
I'm going to get a vasectomy. That's a
tattoo. Yes.
Think long and hard about that one.
Yeah, that's a tattoo. And so, if you look at that framework, I just love that framework.
I love that.
Because you can categorize it. Is this a hat, a haircut, or a tattoo? And then that's how long you should give yourself to maybe think about that decision. Mm-hmm. But to your point, tattoos are very, very rare. But they're usually the biggest and most important decisions. And then, but our life is mostly made up of haircuts and hats.
But if you treat a haircut and a hat decision like a tattoo decision,
you have a lot of anxiety.
Make yourself
crazy. A lot of anxiety, a lot of overwhelm, a lot of pressure, a lot of worry.
And you're going to fight a lot in your marriage because you're going to have a really strong opinion and a really strong conviction about something that doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Like the paint color on your wall is a freaking hat.
It's a hat.
Don't sit there and argue about it.
Yes.
Just put a freaking color on the wall. And if it's awful, you put a different color on the wall.
100%.
Don't make tattoos out of hats.
Yes. And I think, man, if more marriages could start making decisions faster, I think that it also speeds your results as a marriage.
Honestly,
it's like a cheat code.
That's a huge cheat code.
It's a cheat code.
In marriage and in life is just make decisions fast.
Yeah.
Because so many people can't. So you'll get ahead so much faster if you can. Because
so much faster.
Everyone else is stuck way back here and you're already 6 decisions ahead because you moved and they didn't.
Yeah.
Even if you made the wrong one.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be, like somebody's right now thinking, man, I really should tell my wife that, I want to try a new career. I want to tell her that I want to try this new thing. And you're just putting it off. You're putting it off. And the whole time you're just thinking, dude, but versus the other guy that's like, okay, I'm going to tell my wife this and I'm going to try 10 different things. By the time I try 10 different things, this guy still hasn't tried one. Mm-hmm. So I get to fail 10 times before this guy's even failed once. Who's going to win?
And every
I
single
will
one of
win
those
every
failures
time.
taught you a lot.
They taught you a
Right,
lot.
they're
You need to
not-
go through the failures.
yeah,
So it's like you should try to stack failures as fast as possible because those are all learning lessons that we all need.
Yep.
And so decision making gives you that ability. And I love that frame of like, I will make 20 decisions before this guy makes one, and I will beat him.
Yep.
Even though I lost 19 of them. I only need one to hit. You know what I'm saying?
And you
it's
learned
like-
more in those 19 failures that failed.
Yes.
And that guy still hasn't learned anything.
It's a big cheat code.
That's the cheat code.
Yeah, we definitely in our marriage, we have a culture of making faster decisions.
Yes.
You know, and yeah, anything else that you want to leave it on?
Oh my gosh. Well, I would just say, I think this is such a great topic for the new year because I think as a couple, you can really sit down and decide and consciously make that decision of what are we going for? What do we want? And of course, I think the best way that we have found to do that is Spark Check-In.
Oh man, Spark.
which
You got to
is-
get Spark.
Which is the app that we created. That it just, you sit down every week as a couple and actually talk about these things. And it's just like a little formula to do that, Rich and I started doing over a decade ago, really early on in our marriage with a physical book that we just decided we need a digital way to do this to make it easier for couples to do on the go on their own time. And so that was why we created it, but we can't, that to me is the best, the most non-threatening way to start this conversation.
Yeah.
And so I'd really encourage people to just go sparkcheckin.com and get that.
Well, we recently had a gentleman. I won't give you his real name, but let's call him George again.
Okay, another George.
Yeah, another George. But he hit the nail on the head. He's like, Rich, I'll be honest with you, with this whole app thing, he's like, I did it, but I was like fully expecting not to like really think anything of it, right? It's like, okay, it's an app, like whatever. And then he started doing it. And then he said, honestly, now that I've been using this thing, he's like, every marriage needs this. It's not just for marriages in crisis or marriages that are, doing really poorly that just need to be reconnected. It's for every marriage. Because whether you're in a good season right now or a bad season, you need it. Because communication is the holy grail of marriage. And the better your communication, the better your marriage will be. And every marriage needs it. And whether you're doing good right now, what happens? You can slowly drift a little bit. So it's like preventative if you're doing really well. Not only preventative, but it helps you go to another level in your marriage. And if you're like disconnected, then obviously it's a no-brainer. It's like, well, this brings you back and it gets you realigned and it keeps you aligned, right? So I thought it was fascinating. He's like, dude, every marriage needs this.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So
Very good. So I think I would just leave people with that. If this is like an intriguing concept.
Links in the description, by the way.
Yeah, I would just start with that. That's a good way to get that conversation rolling.
Yeah. All right. Love you, babes. Good episode.
Love you. I'm proud
Happy
of
New
you.
Year's, guys. Proud of you.
All right.
All right. Talk soon. Bye.